I think that is one of the main things that has had me kind of shy away from anabolic steroid use is I know that I would love the effects of it so much, and feeling that strength and that just unnatural ability.
What's up, guys? Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be talking about Brian DeCosta's drug test results. So this guy, I got forwarded his screenshots of his drug test results, apparently from some naturally tested bodybuilding competition or something along those lines. So, he has a very good physique, and a lot of people wonder, is this guy natural or not? Is he skirting the test? Is he, faking natural status? Is he... what's the deal with it? So I wanted to look into his test results to see for myself, how credible is this test in terms of, blatantly, singling somebody out as a natural versus not. Cause obviously this guy, everyone's highly skeptical of his, very developed and impressive physique. And then, showing me these, test results basically clears them. But is this test result trustworthy? Is this guy natty or not? That's what we're going to be getting into. So when you look at this guy's physique, he looks very impressive. Like, you would have a hard time believing this guy's natural. Not a lot of people would believe it. And, I'm not surprised that people sent me this guy's drug test results to kind of assess what I think. This guy looks pretty damn on the edge of what you would consider to be naturally achievable or not. And he obviously has good genetics, but... is this something you can reasonably expect within 10 years of hard, natural diet, training, hardcore adherence to rest and recovery, etc.? The thing that was sent to me, and the main thing we're covering, is this guy's post he made from the day I won the overall of Paul Revelia show. So he basically posts an Instagram story with his... drug test results, basically alluding to the fact that he is indeed natural, and this is proving it. So this is basically what I wanted to dig into here. So if we go look at some of his shows, we can see what he looks like in contest shape. And again, obviously, like his Instagram posts, he's always shredded all the time anyways, but this is, next level body composition for a natural. Like, most people would scoff at the idea that you could walk around at this naturally at all. And expectedly, if this guy is natural, he's going to show off his test results. So here he is at the, this is one of the shows leading up to the one where he got tested, presumably. And here he is. He looks nuts. He has full arms and delts, even though he's natural. He's, diced to the socks. He's got a crazy detail on his back. And honestly, he's blowing these other two guys out of the water. And here he is at the World Championship of Natural Bodybuilding. I don't know if this was exactly the show for the drug test results, but this was the closest one I could find in his YouTube channel. So presumably, this is him at that show he had the test results for. Maybe that's wrong, but either way, he still looks, either way you want to spin it, this is what he looks like at his show. So when we get into his test results, we can see here he is a OCB pro. So... Organization of Competition Bodies. Honestly, I've never heard of this league. But anyways, obviously you have to pass drug tests to be in this natural show, right? So to remain eligible, you're required to maintain an active OCB Pro membership, and you have to get tested, I'm assuming, at some point. Without even digging into the likelihood that these are pre-planned tests and you're not having random, guys showing up at your house to drug test you in the middle of the night... and just the basic knowledge that you could easily clear whatever you want by understanding the pharmacokinetics of them in time for whatever, lax testing they have for their predetermined test dates. Let's just assume the fact that this is random testing. Let's just give, even, like, it's very unlikely, but let's just give it the benefit of the doubt, and let's just say it's actually strict. When we look at his test results, it looks pretty comprehensive, right? We can see... things from belastirone, like a literal steroid you haven't seen since the 80s. We see clenbuterol, we see danazol, we see all these things that are, exotic compounds, drostanolone, which is masteron. We see epitestosterone, the masking agent that would otherwise be used to artificially inflate your epitestosterone level to crank your T to epitestosterone ratio potentially. We see halidrol, we see mistanolone. We see everything. We see nandrolone. And on the next page, we can see here Anavar. We can see Anadrol. We can see Winstrol. We can see Trenbolone. We can even see Testalactone, which is a old school 90s anti-estrogen. So here, this is the main thing I want to touch on first. So look at the method index. We have all of these different abbreviations that mean different assays, essentially. So the main one that we want to look at is the fact that every single test here was done using a certain method, GCMS. That is gas chromatography with mass spectrometry. That is what is being used specifically. So that testing method, what can that do exactly? Can that differentiate between bioidentical endogenous androgens and synthetic ones? What it can do is it can detect with reasonable accuracy if you have metabolites of exogenous synthetic anabolics. Yes, that is accepted, and I will, concede that for sure. And it is largely what is used to screen out athletes in these basic, entry. When I say entry, I just mean, relatively lax testing organizations. So if you're using a synthetic androgen or synthetic anabolic steroid, it's going to get picked up if you don't clear it out of your system in time. If you're using Anavar, if you're using Anadrol and you didn't time it properly, assuming you were randomly tested, sure, you could pop. However, gas chromatography with mass spectrometry cannot differentiate between endogenous androgens that are bioidentical and produced naturally versus exogenously administered bioidentical androgens that it can otherwise not tell the difference between. So the main one that we're looking at in this kind of a situation is testosterone. So this is why if you look on page 1, you can see here androstenedione, or testosterone with a testosterone to epitestosterone ratio. So the reason for this is because GCMS can't tell the difference between bioidentical endogenous testosterone that you're naturally producing and exogenously administered testosterone. So what they have to deploy here is something called a testosterone to epitestosterone ratio test. And you can see here, the ratio is 6. 6, guys. Normally people are like at most 2 to 1. And 6 is actually an old IOC cutoff used way back in like over 15 years ago that's since been lowered in most stringent leagues. Like the UFC has a cutoff of 4, I believe, the last I checked. And most places, most professional leagues are using a cutoff of 4. So this is already extremely lenient. And we're going to get into even skirting around 4 shortly. But 6, you have massive leeway to use testosterone. So let's just get into that first. Back in 2004, WADA lowered the cutoff to 4 from 6. And above and beyond that, only once you tripped that cutoff of 4 to 1 would you be subsequently tested using a more high sensitivity method of testing to differentiate between cholesterol derived testosterone and something derived from a plant source. So this is where the deployment of isotopic ratio mass spectrometry would come into play to differentiate if you're using something that is cholesterol derived or something that is not. And this is the only way they're going to tell if your testosterone you're injecting is coming from plant tissue or not. And at that point, then they can pop you for, synthetic testosterone being administered exogenously. But up until that point, if you stay within this screening ratio, you're going to be fine. So we have a 6 to 1 testosterone to epitestosterone ratio. So you have a leeway of whatever you can get within that ratio to not pop for this initial screen. So how much leeway do you actually have with that? Like we already know it's not going to be able to tell if you're using fake testosterone versus your own natural testosterone. So we have a 6 to 1 ratio here that we have to play with. So the thing I want to refer to is the study that I commonly refer to when I'm discussing the T to EPT ratios, and that is the effect of short-term use of testosterone and anthate on muscular strength and power in healthy young men. So in this study, they basically want to see what the testosterone to epitestosterone ratio would be in guys that are literally using a long ester of testosterone and intentionally testing them to try and see if they could beat the IOC cutoff of 4 to 1. So keep in mind, this is 4 to 1, not even 6 to 1. So here, 2 objectives of this study were to establish if injection of 3.5 milligrams per kilogram of testosterone and anthate once per week, and keep in mind, it's an enanthate ester. We're not talking about something that is short acting with a short ester, or even potentially something with no ester that you could clear out of your system within hours. We're talking about enanthate, something designed to bleed out for days and stay in your system for a long period of time so you don't have to administer so often. Like, this is one of the longest esters available of testosterone. So this is, if somebody can remain within this ratio using an enanthate and intentionally trying to test positive, you can just imagine the amount of leeway you have using a suspension or, even a propionate potentially. So here, 3.5 milligrams per kilogram. That's a lot, man. Like, we're talking about roughly 300 milligrams per week for like most of these athletes. So 16 healthy young men were match paired and were assigned randomly in a double-blind manner to either a test E group or placebo group. And they did heavy resistance training. They either received test or they received nothing for 6 weeks. They assessed before and after metrics of strength and body composition and whatnot. And the main outcome, obviously, there was significant performance-enhancing advantage. What we saw, though, despite the clear ergogenic effects of testosterone enanthate in as little as 3 weeks, 4 of the 9 subjects in the testosterone enanthate group, almost 50% of them, did not test positive to testosterone under the current urinary testosterone to epitestosterone ratio criteria. So we have guys using almost 300 milligrams a week of a long-acting ester, staying within this 4-to-1 cutoff. So you can just imagine if you have a 6-to-1 cutoff, how much more leeway do you have? I don't know, maybe 400 milligrams? But still, that's a long ester, guys. So just think about that. If you're using something that doesn't even have an ester attached to it versus something that is designed to be cleaved off and stay in your system for a while, the likelihood that you're going to get popped for using a fast-acting testosterone, not even microdosing, like aggressively daily dosing, the likelihood is very, very low that you're going to, the likelihood that you're going to get randomly tested in this league, I'm sure is low to begin with. They probably don't even do it. They probably have pre-planned tests. It's pretty damn obvious that you can just plan to stay within this ratio or otherwise prepare yourself to clear out of your system sufficiently by understanding the pharmacokinetic profile of whatever you're using and just using something short-acting enough that you can clear it out of your system in time for the tests. And even if you didn't, you could probably maintain this guy's physique using 300 milligrams of test, in my opinion, and that's using enanthate. Like, we're talking about, you could use a suspension and use way more than this and pin it fucking around the clock, several hundred milligrams per week, and be fine. So, is this going to be a definitive, is he natty or not? I'm not going to really dig into this guy's past because it would do a lot of research to see how his physique changed over the years, and that's a more elaborate deep dive video. But just in terms of his test results and him, posting this story saying, here's my natural status pretty much from the day I won this show. It's naturally tested. Check it out here. I'm definitely natural. See, it's proved right here. GCMS doesn't prove shit. And then your testosterone to epitestosterone ratio of 6-to-1 also doesn't prove shit. So this to me, I would just write off completely, to be honest, especially with the fact that I highly doubt there's random testing being deployed. With that being said, is this guy natural or not? I'm not going to dig into it too hard. I don't want to put him on blast too much. I just, seeing this as proof being posted is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is this guy natural or not? What do you think of these testing parameters for this natural bodybuilding competition? If you have any more information about how they do the testing too, that would be interesting to hear. But to me, it looks pretty lax and like it's designed in a way that gives you a significant amount of leeway. So let me know what you guys think. Comments down below. All the comments help the algorithm and are much appreciated. You can follow me too on Instagram at moreplates_more_dates, Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I am associated with in the video description below. My TRT clinic or Gorilla Mind, Gorilla Mode pre-workout, and nootropic formulas that I developed from scratch myself. Anything else that I am associated with, video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.